Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV. Episode 214, Palace Intrigue. Got a lot to get into today. Shout out to Regina, Peace, Love, and Soul Train Duke, and what up? Hold on, sorry. Due to the chat, shout out to y'all. Hold on, let me fix this mic. Hold on, y'all. All right, I'm back. All right, another week, 2 weeks have passed. Hopefully y'all had a good stress-free week as possible. Everything is going well. Peace and blessings to you and your families. A lot to get to. The holidays are in full swing, and if y'all celebrate, happy holidays to y'all. Hold on, let me make sure this is done. Hold on, y'all. All right. A whole bunch of political infighting. We see that they call themselves actually finally releasing these Epstein files, which were redacted to hell. Didn't find nothing in there except pictures. They gave us pictures, and boy, they give y'all breadcrumbs and people run with it. Anybody that ever took a picture with Jeffrey Epstein is guilty. The way people are reacting. We'll get to that. And a few other things we will speak about. Hold on. Again, hold on. Anyway, let's get right into it then. Let's just get it going. Let's get going. All right. First up, we're going to start with something like the Oscars to leave ABC and stream on YouTube starting 2029. Now, we're seeing that the Hollywood and the entertainment industry is doing a lot of shifts right now, a lot of money being thrown left and right, a lot of changes being made before we get to 2030, obviously. And the Oscars will now be streamed on YouTube. And it makes sense in how streaming has taken over the last 5 to 10 years. And the first thing I thought when I saw this was, man, it's almost like this idea was pitched to BET last year and they just did nothing with it. But anyway, let me just show some things in this right quick. The Academy Awards will begin streaming exclusively on YouTube in 2029, the latest big change in Hollywood. The Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences made the announcement on Wednesday saying that they signed a multi-year deal that will give YouTube the exclusive global rights to the Oscars until 2033. Now, when you read this article, one of the things they focus on this heavily, particularly YouTube and the Oscars, is the global impact, the global aspect of it. Even though we know they give rights to European or foreign countries to place the Oscars on certain networks and stuff, and they get paid from that, they're willing to sacrifice that money to try and reach a bigger audience. Considering you see these streamers sit on Twitch and YouTube for 8, 9, 10, 24-hour streams and able to maintain a same audience the whole time, it's only right that the Oscars, whose numbers have been dwindling on ABC for the longest on television, so we may as well go where people are. They're on the internet. YouTube is the biggest content streaming platform on the planet. And Netflix has been trying to make waves into that sphere. Netflix has been trying to buy up everything they can. They're turning into the villain very quickly to a lot of people. So if everybody is on the internet and everybody wants to watch streaming or live content, why not take one of the most prestigious award shows and give them direct access to it? And this also told me, seeing how they focus on the global aspect so much, that certain awards that they normally never presented on television because, time constraints, the show can now be however long they want it to be, and they can show every award they have and present it. So we're going to see countries like Southeast Asian, Arab, South American. You're going to see awards presented to movies that you would have never known existed. There's going to be a bigger spotlight on these other countries as America continues to try and become more of a globalized entity. Shout out to Kiefer. Hope all is well. How you doing? So big shakeups in Hollywood, and I think we'll continue to see that for the next couple of years as this money keep moving around. It's just crazy to me how we found out, people who don't pay attention to this type of stuff, we just found out pretty much that Netflix is probably worth more than Disney. Netflix is the big dog, and YouTube, which is Google at this point, is right there with them. So you're going to see those type of companies buy up everything. And, as much as people are looking at it and not worried about the Oscars per se, but you don't want certain media companies to control everything. That's something that America, or at least most countries, have caught itself trying to stop those monopolies, but it's continuing to go, and it's going to get worse and worse, I think. But anyway, this is just going to be the first couple of seconds, and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes later. Hold on. All right, here we go. Quickly, Cassie hires lawyer as escort's lawsuit moves forward. The escort, Clayton Howard, has accused the singer of aborting his child and giving him STD. We already spoke about this. His case is going forward. Let me just play this video of a account of it.
Turning on Cassie because now she's facing a lawsuit of her own. A man named Clayton Howard says he's one of the escorts Diddy and Cassie hired. Says Cassie gave him a disease, but also claims the model became pregnant with his child, but terminated it without his knowledge. Clayton says Cassie informed him at the time that she was pregnant and said she knew the baby was his.
Explain to the people why you suing Cassie.
Well, I'm suing Cassie because once I became aware of how vast what she was doing was, and I was able to connect the fact that I probably caught chlamydia because she was sleeping with dozens of men lying to me, and I learned a lot more about the law, I realized that for years she manipulated me by promising me money I never got, and basically just overselling a situation that she knew because I was in a less than a desirable financial position that I would go for. So what I'm suing her for is I'm suing her for the actual RICO that the government messed up on as the male victim that she sex trafficked. Because as you might know, it takes 2 predicate offenses in order to be guilty of a RICO, which is a commercial sex act and transporting someone over the state lines for the purpose of prostitution, which the trial totally revealed that she did. She testified to the fact that she personally sex trafficked me. At least it's over to the fact where now I can finally go and obtain some justice in civil court. They acknowledge my victimhood. Let's hope Cassie doesn't keep playing the game trying to deny what she actually did. And let's just hope they end this so everybody can go on with their life. See what's going on.
Now, the interesting part about this, reason why I'm showing this is, because obviously most people are over this. As Regina just said, to me, this lawsuit is a Diddy psyop, and if Dude wins, Diddy will recoup his millions, and Dude will get a payout. Exactly. As we said during the case, the fact that they didn't bring many of the actual, what they consider to be victims, the male escorts or prostitutes, they didn't bring them up to talk, said that they didn't really want to delve into Cassie's part of this. if she is a victim, as we saw on tape of her being abused, that she definitely was a victim in some aspects, there's no way you have a whole case based around this and not consider these men victims, in particular him. So it's funny seeing that certain people squirm and try to get out of calling him a victim. It's like, well, in my opinion, I believe these are people who are adults who did things for money. But if we're going to consider her a victim, you must also call him one as well. So it's going to be hard for them to weasel out of this. And I agree with Regina. If he's able to prove that she is as much of a predator as a victim, that would kind of wipe Diddy's guilt as well, wouldn't it? It would make him not just somebody who did this thing single-handedly and everybody was afraid of him. It would actually there were people who were working with him. She was his co-defendant, not a victim. Keeper said it seems a little silly. I agree, but if you consider what happened to her as far as the sexual aspect to be her being put into victimhood, then you have to agree that he is as well. So I'm not gonna keep up with this closely, obviously, but I am wondering how this is gonna go. Will she pay up? Will this even make it further into it, or will it be thrown out? It's gonna be funny because if he's found to be a victim and she's forced to pay, the question is also going to become, why didn't he sue Diddy as well? We'll see. But this stuff going on this year is very strange. Keeper said he seemed a little too happy. Man, he was in love with Cassie. Let's be real. If you watch that interview he did with Art of Dialogue, shout out to Art of Dialogue for taking over that Vlad space. Thank you. But he clearly was in love with this woman. It wasn't just for money for him. He even admitted it that he didn't know that she had other men that they were hiring. As a matter of fact, he even said that there were certain situations where Diddy had no knowledge of him or other men that she was making these appearances with, setting up these moments with. So he was in love with the woman. He didn't realize that she looked at him as just some dude to come over and sling wood on her. So when he found out she was dealing with other dudes, he acted like he was so heartbroken. And now he's trying to sue her to get back at her. Because once again, Diddy isn't his enemy in this situation. In their interview, he defended Diddy more than I've seen anybody do it. But yeah. Virginia says fact as well as formulaic. Keeper says, the lie detector says that's a lie. He knew. He had to. I mean, this is what he said. But I still do believe, based off the interview, he had some level of emotional connection with this woman. Even in this little clip here, he said these lines here. Let me find it. Hold on.
Government messed up on. As the mail went over the state lines, she testified to the fact where now I can finally go and obtain some justice, instead for years she manipulated me by promising me money
She promised him money.
Never got.
He never got.
And basically just overselling a situation.
She oversold a situation
that she knew because I was in a
So she oversold the connection she had with him emotionally and relationship wise, and she led him to believe that she was falling in love with him. And it's like, dude, it was sex. He was with a multi-millionaire man who allowed her to have these moments with these other men. She was not interested in a relationship with you. But anyway, it is what it is. Next up, this is another controversy that happened. This is not a serious or heinous situation. So this is a lot more toned down, but I want to show this here. Hold on. This is the CEO of the Uncle Nearest whiskey brand, which I have a bottle of, by the way. And obviously she's under some other scrutiny with the alleged tax thing she's doing, where she's paying back $100 million in loans, and she might have lost her company, but we don't know how that's going to end. But she had this situation happen with a alleged classmate from her childhood that didn't go over well with the public. Regina said, it sounds to me like he's mounting Diddy's sins on tape of Cassie, a word for word. These folks in serious new form of entertainment. Everything is a play. Let me play this.
Hello, how are you?
We were just in the same class in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Washington.
So I'm supposed to remember you. Okay, can I tell y'all that this man just said, do you remember me?
From 6th or 7th grade.
Make it make sense to me. He said we were in the same class in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Me, you, not even serious.
Okay.
That part.
He's being serious.
Yes,
though.
he
Are you
is.
being serious? I do not. I'm sorry. No,
Which one?
I don't remember the 6th, the 7th, or the 8th grade.
We were in the same class.
Okay.
Me, you, and
Well,
I.
it's nice to meet you.
you.
Yo. Hello.
Now, she got a lot of backlash for this. People saying she was being rude and unnecessarily trying to embarrass someone. Okay, we could say that. But we also got to point out this man doesn't have the best social skills. You're what this woman considers to be a stranger in her face, very close, telling her you know her with a very, very serious face, telling her we was in the same grade. Like, I think she tried to lighten the mood up a bit with a joke, but it did come off as being a bully somewhat. But I will say it's bad PR for her considering the drama that she's in legally, to also be a person who seemingly is kind of an asshole. But the brother needed the social skills wasn't that well shown here. He seemed like a dude who's very he doesn't read social cues very well at all. But she got a backlash for this. She ended up having to write a statement to apologize. Regina says she favors Vivica A. Fox a lot. She definitely does. She wrote this, Fawn Weaver. She said, I don't know him, but I've asked for anyone who does to share his IG and I'll reach out. That said, I asked you to go to the beginning of the exchange, not greeting, no smile, inches from my face. That was an incredibly awkward moment. I was trying to make lighthearted. It didn't seem like a fan or a supporter in that moment. I expected him to crack a smile once I joked with the crowd. He never did. So that took it from awkward to uncomfortable, or vice versa quick. In hindsight, I definitely would have just said, I'm sorry. I was 35 years ago and I attended 3 different schools over that time and don't recall. But thanks for coming. But in that moment, it felt incredibly odd. Yeah, Keith says creeper. LOL. I don't want to call the brother a creeper, but it wasn't, I understand why she was uncomfortable. She did handle it really badly. They was on her ass though. I will say this too. Regina said that's a reasonable response. I agree. I didn't like how fast people were to get on her. Like they got on her quickly, and I knew exactly what this was going to go. It went straight to the critique of black businesses or black owned companies. Immediately went into that and how black people just aren't professional enough when they run their businesses to treat other black people with respect and dignity. It's like, well, this is a different situation. This was a moment where she was meeting people who are supporters. She's meeting supporters. They're surrounding her. They're congratulating her and all this other stuff. He's there and his energy is a little off. Now he might just be a dude who's just an austere or a very stoic type personality. You know, he just don't giggle for no reason. But yeah, I could see how she was uncomfortable. But bless her heart, bless peace to everyone involved. Hopefully it goes over well for her and people just move on from it. And hopefully it doesn't show certain personality traits that she may have behind the scenes. Hopefully this is just a one-off awkward situation and doesn't show that this is actually who she is as far as how she handled the situation. But anyway, Kiva said she was nice enough would have been. I know you, Kiva. You would have pulled out. You would have defended yourself, as I say. You would have made sure he understood that the situation wasn't going to go the way he thought it would. You know, I understand. And then it was in public. You're surrounded by people. I don't think she should have felt in danger, but I get it. You know, as a woman, I would imagine it's a totally different mindset you got to have. But it is what it is. Prayers to everyone involved. And I still got the order. Hopefully, I don't take up business. More updates on the AI situation, and it took a crazy turn, y'all. And you know, we was right. We diagnosed the situation with this Zena Monet AI character who is actually what's her name? Talisha Nikki Jones, the actual person behind the AI. We said that she just somebody who living vicariously through this AI character, and that she's just a strange individual. Well, she is. I ain't want to say that part, Keeper. I ain't want to accuse her of that part. I'm gonna leave that out. I'm gonna leave that one out. But people who see the video will see that part. So this right here happened. Let me show the screen. Zena Monet confronts AI music backlash on new single "Say My Name with Respect." Zena Monette, the AI-driven R&B artist created by writer Talisha Nikki Jones, released a new single Friday. Said, what the hell is going on? We already in December. The year went by fast. And as the year goes on, it gets stranger and stranger. The fact that stuff like this exists right now, I can only imagine what 2026 is going to be. But anyway, released a new single Friday, December 19th, titled "Say My Name with Respect," using the track as a direct address, mounting criticism surrounding artificial intelligence in music. As debate over AI performance continues to divide the industry, Monette's latest releases frames the conversation as personal rather than theatrical. Virginia says, "We have all been needed to be cautious, but these days keep your head on the 360 rotation because folks is too unpredictable at this point." Agreed. Keeper said, "Check the neck and hands." Like Kevin Sam used to say, what do you call it? Neck bone check. Collarbone check. That's it. Collarbone check. You got to check the neck, man. Hand size. So in this song, because if you know, this is Jermaine Dupri came out and spoke about it when he said, "How is this any different from Milli Vanilli?" Jermaine Dupri calls out fake AI artists as he makes one hell of a point. So he went on this whole critique of what's the difference between this and people faking the artists. It's the same damn thing. We didn't like it then. We don't like it now. So this woman, I'm gonna stop referring to this AI character as Zena Monette. This is Talisha Jones. This woman, Talisha Jones, wrote a song where she made a diss R&B song to the people critiquing the creation of this. Let me play some of this. Let me get to the lyrics.
Funny how you went to the media first, talking about my pen like you know my work. You don't know the nights I cried to write, or how many songs healed somebody's life. You say I ain't real, you say I don't create, but your voice shake a little every time you hate. Cause deep down you know I'm destined to shine, and you feel that pressure every time you hear my lines. I wasn't trying to compete, wasn't trying to compare, but you keep speaking on me like I ain't right there.
This woman is odd. So she made this song dissing the R&B artist Kalani, obviously Jermaine Dupri, and she tried to use comments from her song saying that it helped her and this R&B music is so good. And the point these people are making is if you are a gifted writer, you could take this to an actual singer. The point of you doing this is because you can't sing, but you want all the credit for the song. But you would rather give it to a fake AI character than actually let an actual human sing it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, she actually signed a $3 million deal for this concoction she created. So she came out with some money on it. But this woman is weird, I'm going to be honest. Virginia says, "I never understood the Milli Vanilli backlash when lip singing is the norm in Hollywood." I think how popular they were, and because in the moment, because of how big they were, the fact that they were not the artists that people thought they were, as far as the songs they were making, it wasn't even them. I think back then that was this thing of keeping it real. When, like you said, it was the norm. There were a lot of people who were lip singing. Hell, we had to deal with it with J-Lo in the 2000s, so it is what it is. But for some reason, the industry targeted them, or better yet, because it happened live and the people reacted to it. I wouldn't even say the industry did anything. It was the people, when they found out, it became a big deal. And once it became a big deal with the audience, it's like, okay, it's over. Behind the scenes, they knew. They did nothing for years. They let it go. They kept trying to help it grow and grow and grow. I think nowadays it's handled a lot differently because it's normalized, not just from before the AI thing, people writing for people. It's normal in, like, you talk about pop music and R&B in general. If it's normal for somebody else to write for you. Then there's somebody else doing backgrounds. Then there's somebody layering your voice for you. So like you said, people have been fake singing for decades, but Milli Vanilli in particular, it was the people that caught him. It just happened in the worst moment it could happen and ended everything. But this mess here is, let me play a little bit more of this, I guess.
Baby, jealousy loud when confidence low, and you've been speaking kind of loud lately, you know. So say my name with respect, cause everything you ain't expect. I didn't ask for the fame or the hype, didn't ask to be the one folks like, but if my words cut deep and make change.
I also noticed that the possible growth of this, obviously some label is putting money and funding this to grow as a way of trying to make this, to normalize this. I noticed that if you look on social media and you look up people's profile pictures or the avies and stuff, there's YouTube channels and Twitch channels that's based on people using a character on screen to represent them that moves and models and talks. That's become normal for people to create a person and to make that their profile picture. And it's a lot of black women. So I wonder, is because so many of them do that, looking at this AI character sing isn't too distant from what they do with their own social media pages. It's already normalized through small stuff like just making pictures and stuff. So even cell phones, the iPhone, how you can create these cartoon characters based off of your actual face. It's so normalized that seeing this is it's just another app on the phone. It's no big deal. Virginia said, in my ears, she sounds like Beyonce or Destiny's Child, hence more. Keith says women. That's true too. That's true as well. Yeah, I agree. That's a lot of, they got, what they call it, a lot of cosplaying as women online as well. I agree. So a lot of those people who do that are women. So who is the main audience of this character then? Is it the LGBT people or is it actual black women? I haven't decided to go through the comments to see if something. I don't care that much. If they're supporting it where she's getting $3 million deals, she's getting her money. So we know that's a real person at least. Their gender, we don't know, but they're getting their money. So if you supporting a fake AI singing, I mean, you supporting it. It is you. It's not really we can do. Even if we stop this character from growing, it's gonna something worse to come down the line that you're gonna support. So it is what it is. But strange character, I'll be honest. I don't know what she thinks gonna come from this. This an actual R&B artist and producers and all this other stuff, saying that you didn't ask for the fame. Well, yes, you did. But you could have wrote this song and sung it on a YouTube video because you just want to express the lyrics, right? But you created a character to look a certain way, and you created a voice to sound a certain way because Keep said the AI does sound like Beyonce. I don't really hear it. Let me give it a few more seconds. Or just ain't no way, Aretha Franklin. Let me give it another chance. Hold on.
If my truth helps somebody through pain, then keep talking, baby, run your mouth. But put some respect on my name now.
Okay, yeah, I hear it. Yeah, I do hear the Beyonce. Do you think she based it off of that? I wonder if she went to this AI creator thing and did she tell it to mimic Beyonce's voice? I wonder. Definitely does sound like her. Sound like that particular voice sound like that song she got. What's it called? Halo. Sound a little bit like that one. But anyway, let's get to the next segment. Okay. We got a old friend that's still popping up. Who just says Halo. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me, especially the part where she tried to go up in note. Definitely sound like Beyonce's Halo. Kamala Harris isn't ready to be written off. Not going to stay on this long. She's kind of showing that she's probably still going to run. She on her book selling tour. And I see a lot of people gearing up. Obviously, we see Newsom. We see Moore. We're going to talk about him right after this. We see a few others on the other side. Marjorie Taylor Greene. We see it looks like J.D. Vance getting some support from the Kirk widow, who ain't acting like a widow. She's like she's having a ball out here. She's never, and it's crazy because the support for her is dropping because the widow Christian trad wife mother is never home with the kids of her deceased husband, but it's a lot of stuff going on with that. But Kamala says she's not ready to be written off. She says she's still going to fight for what's best for the people, yada, yada, yada. Let me just read this first little piece. The one thing that Kamala Harris absolutely, definitely, most certainly does not want to talk about is whether she is thinking about running for president again. It's 3 years from now, the former vice president pleaded in the interview last month, sitting in the leather chair backstage at the Raymond Auditorium in Nashville before one of the final stops in her nationwide book tour. I mean, honestly, Ms. Harris is busy selling books. A lot of them she is not yet selling herself. Old advisors, both allied and estranged, have squinted from afar at her book tour, wondering what exactly her strategy is, or is there any at all. She has done little to distance herself from her president, Joseph R. Biden Jr., besides admitting aloud that it was recklessness on her part not to have discouraged him from running again. We know. Now, with all the people that we think are more than likely going to continue to be a part of the run here, this one here is the funniest one that may, I just deleted it by accident. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Did not mean to do that. Well, I don't need it. Jasmine Crocket. She's running for Senate. And probably one of the worst stumbling announcements to a campaign. Not the worst, but one of the worst I've seen. Let me play this here.
Especially in this moment. There are a lot of people that said, you got to stay in the house. We need our voice. We need you there. And I understand. But what we need is for me to have a bigger voice. What we need is not only a voice, but we need to make sure that we are going to stop all the hell of us.
Now, the real reason she's running is she knows that she's been pushed out. Keep it called clown. She's been pushed out of her district because the Texas redistricting they're doing, the lines they're redrawing for the districts. She knows she's been pushed out. So she's just running for another seat that she knows she's going to lose. This is just to build her profile even more, to grow her name even more. Even if she runs and loses, it doesn't matter. Which is a lot of them do. They know they're going to lose, but you still run to build your profile. Keeper said no. She needs to stop talking. She's embarrassing. Yeah. Like I said, this is probably one of the worst stumbling out things I've seen somebody do to try to start a campaign run, especially considering who she's going against, which is this guy right here, Representative James Tallarico. I don't know how to say his name. The Spanish European whatever dude who is clearly who the party wants. I've seen some people say that she needs to just step out and leave the race to make the path easier for him, because he's clearly the person who they think has a better chance to win the actual race. And more than likely they are correct. But this here, hold on. Let me prepare this. So I'm going to show the videos from their campaigns. When Jasmine Crocket announced hers and what she put out versus what the other guy did. Let me just set this up.
She's the new star.
All right, hold on. All right.
She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crocket. They're in big trouble.
But you have this woman, Crocket. She's a very low IQ person.
I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. Crocket. Oh, man. Oh, man. She's a very low IQ person.
Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding.
Now they're going to rely on Crocket. Crocket's going to bring them back.
That's the part I don't think she understands. Jasmine, you made a video of the president of the United States mocking you, calling you an idiot and low IQ. this seems like more of a hit piece you did on yourself. There are people who are laughing at you with Trump for making this. You started the video not even looking into the camera. You're looking off. 2, you centering only yourself. It's about you, about what the president said about you. You not even looking at the camera. Then you look towards the camera, look it in the eyes, and you look, I want to use the word angry. You have the, what do you call it, RBF, rest in bitch face. You don't seem confident. You seem like you're trying to look confident. This was terrible all around. This was a terrible, terrible way to start. Virginia says, Kamala is a narcissist and won't do nothing to demonstrate she can impact policy for the people in a good way. Only writing that I'm not black, but a woman campaigning too many fall for it. Exactly. So yeah, now compare that to her opponent, her Democratic opponent.
The biggest divide in our country is not left versus right. It's top versus bottom.
Immediately, he is pushing populist beliefs. I don't understand. You just saw Mamdani win New York by pushing populist socialist beliefs. You saw your president, Donald Trump, win off populist beliefs. And the Democrats still have not taken this full throttle. You still don't push certain things that Bernie Sanders, although he flamed out, AOC, once again, another person who flamed out. These people push things that were supported. How do you now he's Democrat as well, but the right wing are taking more into the populist belief than even the Democrats. He starts with the people surrounding him. He's the center. He's speaking to the people. Anyway.
Billionaires want us looking left and right at each other so that we're not looking up at them.
Did you see the poet thing he's trying to do? The left, right, political parties versus up the money.
The people at the top work so hard to keep us angry and divided.
Look what he's doing. You focus on the anger and the separation, dividing of using Trump's words. Oh man, it's just bad.
Because our unity is a threat to their wealth and their power.
Is that Yehim Stone? If I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. What's up? He said Bernie was paid to drop out 2016, 2020, and 2024. I don't think he was paid at all. I think he's just a wimp with no spine, a jelly spine person who allowed to be cheated out of the election. I think it was obvious in 2016 and 2020. He just got cheated out of it and just went with it because he just didn't want to be the bad guy in public. By the way, I think the last most sharp-tooth thing I've seen, outside of Trump, obviously, the Trump, Biden stuff, was Elizabeth Warren. I didn't think she had the balls to do what she did to Bernie Sanders. That was crazy. Like, it just kind of went away. But she accused one of the so-called most progressive men in Congress, in politics. She accuses man of sexism when he's been somebody who, since the 80s or whatever, been pushing for women in politics. That was some very House of Cards type shit, right? That was crazy. I didn't think she had the balls to do that. Keep said spineless. Exactly. I don't think Bernie was paid at all. I think he just weak.
The biggest.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to restart this. Hold on, sorry.
Social media algorithms and their cable news networks tear us apart. They divide us by party, by race, by gender, by religion, so that we don't notice that they're defunding our schools, gutting our healthcare, and
it is kind of funny to have the one so-called black person sit in the middle with you, and then like everybody else is white. But it is what it is.
Cutting taxes for themselves and their rich friends. It is the oldest strategy in the world. Divide and conquer. But we will not be conquered.
Damn, Jasmine. That's how you speak with strength and confidence, not just letting somebody else speak about you like you did with Trump. But anyway, let's move on to some more Miss Jasmine Crocket had to say.
When we're trying to deal with whether or not we're going to send foreign aid out, Black people are like, why y'all sending money across the world? Y'all need to keep that money here. Not recognizing that our money and our dollar goes so much further somewhere else. If we were to send our money to Haiti or Honduras or anywhere, it would actually go so much further because the dollar is so strong. When
These people, man. Virginia says, Elizabeth Warren definitely has balls. I didn't see it coming from old fake Pocahontas Karen. That's another thing. The names that Trump gave them stuck. Him calling her Pocahontas was hilarious. Then she came out with a so-called DNA test trying to prove she's native, and it was like, stop. And she realized that it was just stupid to even continue doing this. And the only way she had a chance to continue her politics is, one, either jump on the Bernie train and allow him to be the leader of whatever she had going on, which she had too much ego to do, or to just burn and flush the whole thing down and hope that AOC takes it over in 10 years. And she took the second one. I did not think she would do it. But this comment right here she made reminded me of a new thing. I saw something on social media where it says that the mayor of Atlanta was trying to build a bridge with the certain countries in Africa to establish a financial benefit for both sides. And I saw some people say, wait, why are you focusing on Atlanta when there's a problem, there's a financial problem here in America? You got a homelessness problem with Black Americans in Atlanta. Why are you focusing on your people? And you have people referring to those people who wanted the American mayor to focus on American citizens. They call those people coons. And I'm like, yeah, the plot is lost. So to get up here and tell Black Americans that we should be okay with you sending foreign aid to other countries because the dollar goes a longer way over there. And she also, this was mainly about Israel and how she was saying how they're the allyship that we have with Israel. And I did see that video. I don't know if I have it up here with Ben Shapiro trying to talk away that Liberty situation, the ship that was shot down by Israel decades ago that led us into a war, and they didn't do nothing but pay a little bit of reparations to people killed. And is it really a friendship or allyship when these people are sneaky and willingly killed American citizens to drag us into a war? That's a whole other conversation. But she just handling this all wrong, I'm gonna be honest. Let me just show some more of what she said. These are some short videos. I'm not gonna show everything. We just said the plot is lost facts. All right, let me play a little of this here. Hold on. A little more Jasmine.
Voters who previously voted for Trump, particularly given that you have been an outspoken critic and he has inserted himself. Just take your campaign video as is. He has inserted himself at every turn when it comes to your commentary. How will you convert those who are supportive of him to voters for you?
Yeah, I don't know that we'll necessarily convert all of Trump's supporters. That's not our goal.
Do you need to?
Our goal is to definitely talk to people. No, we don't. We don't need to. Our goal is to make sure that we can engage people that historically have not been talked to, because there's so many people that get ignored, specifically in the state of Texas. Listen, the state of Texas is 61% people of color. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of good folk that we can talk to. We know that when Beto came really close, Beto, who is a progressive.
I was wrong about Berto, by the way. Years ago, I told Travis that Berto was going to win in Texas because he was a literal spitting image of Obama. He literally took the way he talked, everything, the way he looked. He was clearly, if it wasn't clear years and years ago that the whole Democratic plan to run for office was to copy Obama's entire campaign, Berto O'Rourke was trying his hardest to convince people he was Barack Obama. It was crazy. I just knew he was going to win, I'm be honest.
We know that he got 65% of the Latino vote. So what did they do after that? They specifically went after Latinos. We know that he got close to 90% or right there at 90% of the African-American vote. So honestly, what we need to do is start talking to the vast majority of Texas. I think my message is very much a mainstream message. I don't know.
It's not. You're getting outflanked by your opponent, your Democratic opponent right now.
Who disagrees with the fact that affordability is a real thing, except for the president who says it's a Democratic hoax. But when somebody goes to the grocery store nowadays, whether it's in East Texas or whether it's right here in Dallas, Texas, or whether it's in Austin or West Texas, let me tell you, they are looking at those grocery prices and they are thinking we deserve better.
See, this is where Trump was able to say certain things to diffuse what you're saying. The prices at the beginning of the year were way worse than they are now. And he's able to say that's because of Biden. Regardless if that's true or not, it's not the point. So when you say this, and then his supporters go look at the numbers, they're going to say, well, the numbers went down under him. The gas prices, all this other stuff went down. Y'all lose this all the time because of that. Keeper says she also takes from APAC, I'm sorry. I thought she didn't. I thought her, AKC, AOC and such don't take the money, but they still support the bills, which was confusing to some people. If she do take the money, I wouldn't be surprised, though. That's why she definitely is a heavy supporter of Israel, because, hey, if you're in government in America, you must support Israel. If you don't, you're not going to get a second term. You just will not get a second one. You will be a one-term in office person if at any moment you just flat out say you don't support the state of Israel for whatever reason. What we got next? Oh, last thing on Miss Jasmine Crocket. It's the last thing we got on her. Let me show this.
To get through these quickly. There's some misinformation going around about your stance on reparations. I guess just based off of someone proposed what we do with tax dollars, and you gave critique for the idea, but you weren't necessarily saying you were anti-reparations.
No.
And you've told me you've come lead on a couple of projects.
Yes, like Truth and Reconciliation in the House. That's something that Barbara Lee was leading on that I'm now working on. I think that anybody that knows me knows that I'm a fan of, making sure that people understand our contributions, as well as acknowledging the harm that has happened as relates to our people. And so for me, it's always been about what is it that we can actually get past?
This is a simple question to answer. The simple answer, should I say. All you had to say was, I support it, we just need the votes. That's all you needed to say. Somehow, the right-wing political people are able to force you to answer questions that should be easy, but it's difficult because there's not enough support for this to get by, but you don't want to say you don't support it. So you're stuck in a situation where if you say you support it and you don't fight for it tooth and nail, you're being fake. People are going to assume. What the right wing is doing is they're just throwing it out there. I heard she don't even support reparations. And then you got to answer to that. And instead of answering the simple way, which is, I support it, we need the votes. You go on this whole spiel on, we just need this and that, and what can we get past, and other variations of bruh. Now you're making people start saying that you just tap dancing, you just talking. People don't even trust you no more because you take too many words to answer the question. But anyway, Regina says, doesn't most of them in high numbers take from ALPAC at this point? Yeah, most of them, yeah. Like I said, the only ones I've seen people not be able to find a direct money trail to is like AOC, which is why this says confusing, because she actually supports a lot of the bills for Israel, but she don't take AIPAC money, which means there's something else she's after, which is a presidential run at some point. She need that support. Keeper says AIPAC has different organizations that they funnel money through. She's a recipient of outside funds. Oh, she's trying to be sneaky. Oh, they gotta ask. And at this point, it's hard to get around it because it's such a big topic now in America with Israel and AIPAC and the political influence they have. That if you take the money, you get it's a lot of money, and it's a very easy run to office. But if you take it, you also get a black mark on your name. At this point, like it's so popular. It's so popular to AOC too. But I haven't seen any of the people actually show the money she's receiving. But I understand if you're saying that she's getting it through outside third party organizations. I guess they haven't found one directly to her, or maybe you found that one. I haven't seen that one. I typically see when something go on with her, and they find out she took some money for something, it becomes a bigger deal. I haven't kept up with it in the last couple of months. I'm gonna go check some more. They might have got to ask. But yeah, it's not even a popular thing to support them at this point in this country. So we'll see if that causes a shift in the next 5 years as well. Regina says, I bet she funneled directly from Soros or the J-ish lady who gave Trump $250 million. Bro, 2 weeks ago I talked about well, months ago when we asked that question. I think it was like February, March. I think Regina was like, "What do you see Trump's plan is? Like, what is he doing?" And I said, "I think he's trying to get money." I said, "I think Trump is setting up his post-presidential life. When he's no longer president, Trump wants to be worth $60 billion. He want to take his net worth from whatever it was, $2 billion, to $60 billion. And man, oh man, his son-in-law is doing everything he can to make that happen. He's a part of the EA deal. He's trying to be a part of this WBD bill. Deal with the Warner Brothers and Discovery, with Paramount. The Turkish people, they have dumping billions into all these companies trying to buy up everything. By the time Trump gets out of office, he'll be worth like 20, 30, 40 billion dollars probably. He's making way. When he gets out of that seat, he's gonna be one of the wealthiest people on the planet, and it's very easy to see. As a matter of fact, the person who's trying to purchase WB and Discovery with Paramount literally called Trump allegedly and said, "Hey, we need this deal to get through." And Trump came out and said, I think the deal should go to Paramount." But that's crazy. Keep said they found a way around the AIPAC label. Yeah, I'm sure they did. It's kind of silly to me not to assume that anyway, considering the stench on AIPAC at this point is very strong. So they got to find a new way to get people the money. Because some people ain't going to work with them because it's just bad publicity. Even if in the end you still get what you want, you still get the seat that you want, you still win your races. But you got this mark on you that just stinks. So find another way to get it to them. But yeah, that's enough on Jasmine. We're going to move on to Donnie. This was last week. I couldn't speak on it obviously because I didn't go live. But old Mom Donnie added someone to his seat. He also fired someone, or at least didn't allow them into his cabinet because they had anti-Semitic tweets. So the man who stood for what's right and didn't take the money and on the righteous side got rid of somebody already because of something they allegedly said about something that was anti-Semitic. They have such a grip in New York, don't they? It's crazy. But look at this. Mamdani crime advisor is ex-con rapper who served 7 years in jail. Now, his homie didn't get the job, but he did. I forgot her name. The woman who took the Cadillac deal. Damn, I forgot her name. I ain't seen her in a minute. She got her money in dip. I remember Joe Budden said he saw him and an old girl in a strip club. He said, what's his name? I forgot his name right quick. Hold on, let me see his name. Mason. Oh, my son. Yeah, my son. He said he saw them in a strip club. He said my son was still on some, Assalamu alaikum type stuff. Old girl was enjoying her time with the strippers. I said, yeah, she's spending that Cadillac money. But Zohran Mamdani has appointed a rapper turned activist who served a 7-year prison sentence for armed robbery to advise him on the criminal justice system. My son, 49, who was convicted of robbing 2 taxi drivers, was appointed to sit on the New York Mayor's-elect's Criminal Legal System Committee as part of his transition team. He was also known as the general denies carrying out the robberies. He refused to take a plea deal, instead of going to trial, where he was found guilty of 3 counts of robbery, weapons possession, and possession of stolen property. Following the announcement he was joining Mr. Mamdani's transition team last month, he shared a post from Until Freedom. I believe that's associated with what's his name? The informant, Reverend, not Jesse Jackson. Goddamn, Al Sharpton. An activist group he founded combat systemic racial injustice. Well, this move just is something he was gonna do. You gotta have some type of blackface in your cabinet, and they also got to be always associated with criminality or the criminal system. I'm not saying it's not necessary, but that ain't the only problem with the black community. There's other stuff that's an issue. It shouldn't just be about the criminal system. But anyway, And so a lot of talk came from, obviously, across the country. There are a lot of but there are a lot of immigrant citizens who are becoming placed in certain positions of power in this country. Obviously, talked about Mom Donnie. You got people like Moore out of Maryland. I'm noticing the headlines are changing though. Years ago, when a crime was committed, especially by somebody of a darker hue or a melanated person, it would automatically be labeled Black American, African American. But the headlines have changed drastically, where they make sure they point out your direct lineage and your crime. And it ain't just for Black people, for every race. They make sure to point out if you're Korean versus being Japanese versus being Thai. They make sure now they specify people's criminality a lot more in the headlines. So let me show this here. Because before it was the Somali situation that was going on with the frauding and the stealing they was doing. Now they coming for the Haitians.
Bonner and Saul Elisme for large-scale SNAP benefit trafficking, a scheme that turned a program designed to feed families into a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise. SNAP benefits are also known as food stamps.
Now we know the reason why, well, right now there's a hyper focus on immigrant criminality is because of the deportations. This is a way of justifying the deportations even more. Hey, look at the crimes they're committing. Hey, look at the murders. Hey, they're stealing money. They're stealing food stamps. They're stealing stamps, SNAP benefits from children. You should want them out of the country. So I understand what they're doing with that.
The defendants are charged with one count of food stamp fraud. As alleged in the charging documents, these men abused one of the government's most critical safety net programs for their own financial gain. This is taxpayer money meant to keep people from going hungry. These defendants decided to take it for themselves. These defendants exchanged SNAP benefits for cash, which they pocketed. Bonner, a naturalized U.S. citizen from Haiti, owned the Jesuela Variety Store. Elisme, a lawful permanent resident also from Haiti, owned the Saul Mache Mixe store. These two businesses were co-located within a single storefront in Boston. To be certain, these were not supermarkets. They were not full-service groceries. It would be a huge stretch to even call them convenience stores. In fact, the only thing convenient about these stores was how easy it was to commit SNAP benefit fraud. To put this in perspective, the Jesuela Variety Store is less than 150 square feet in size, smaller than some bathrooms. The Saul Mache Mixe store was approximately 500 square feet in space. By contrast, a supermarket can be 20,000 to 60,000 square feet in size, have a dozen or more registers, and employ numerous employees. Both the Jesuela Variety and Saul Mache Mixe stores had one register, no carriages, no hand baskets, and very little food for sale.
They was getting money, man. But that's what this is. This is they're doing their due diligence and trying to allow the public to see why they want to deport them. They're continuing to give you all the stories you can get. They're giving you all the headlines and the stories and all the criminality they're committing and saying, hey, this is why you should support this. Okay, you don't care about the alleged killing or kidnapping that happened in South Carolina to that Black American woman. Let me show you them stealing SNAP benefits over here. How they're taking taxpayer money and just wasting it. We understand what's going on. Then we got this here. Trump's Christmas message: things are better than you think. So Trump had a speech he did. He had an address to the nation. Now, it was funny. Right before he did this, that it was announced that the Epstein files would be released Friday. So on Wednesday, he announced he's going to address the nation. And he basically got on there and talked about the economy. He talked about how strong it is. We're on our way to a real big upswing, and things are doing way better than people think. We're about to be red hot, the economy. Call a whole bunch of people fake news and stuff, whatever. And I'm noticing, as I said last show, that there's a big fracture that's happening on the MAGA side. There are a lot of people who are starting to speak against him. There are a lot of people who are trying to disassociate the MAGA movement in general from certain parties, like the Nick. I saw Fresh and Fit went to that TP USA, is it called? Or I forgot what it's called. Whatever that Charlie Kirk organization was. That Marlon dude from Fresh and Fit was not allowed in. I showed a video of them on stage. Meghan Markle and the other woman got on stage and tried to distance themselves from other right-wing social media talkers and saying, "Hey, we don't want to get into the far end of the right end where it gets towards the racists or whatever." So they're trying to disassociate themselves from certain segments, and it's fragmenting. And one of the biggest people that's fragmenting it is Candace Owens, and we'll get to her. But I want to show that even though they call Trump a liar and stuff, like I said, at some point, something he said, the big stuff, like the real big accusations he's making, most of the time end up coming out to be true. So even to this day, Trump still remains the point, still says that 2020 election was stolen. He says this. They said there's no proof of this. We saw their whole investigation to the voting machines. They was able to say nothing happened. Then they shut the whole company down, and now they sued some dude for $1 billion or whatever. I'm sorry, they sued Fox News and stuff for $1 billion. We saw how that happened. Nothing came from it. But now Fulton County is saying we don't dispute 350,000 votes lacking poll workers' signatures were counted in 2020. So all these years, he said that Atlanta, or should I say Georgia in general, there was fraud going on. Now you're admitting that by definition, because there were not 3 signatures on this, that it was uncertified votes being counted. Early this month, Fulton County admitted that approximately 350,000 early votes from the 2020 election were illegally certified, but were nonetheless still included in the final results of that election. The admission came during the December 9th hearing before the Georgia State Election Board, stemming from the challenge filed by David Cross, a local election integrity activist. Cross filed a challenge with the SEB in March 2022. Cross alleged that Fulton County violated Georgia statute in the handling of advanced voting ahead of November 2020 elections, counting hundreds of thousands of votes, even though polling workers failed to sign off on the tabulation tapes critical to the certification process. And Fulton County admitted to it. I'm just saying, man, I'm only bringing this up because we got flagged on this channel so many times. We lost weeks and months of time because we simply were saying what it showed, what history said. Like, these numbers just don't make sense. Something is off. And now, just like with COVID, they're coming out saying, yeah, the other side was right. So yeah. Now it's not to say that all these votes had something to do with, every aspect of just one election. I'm pretty sure it was multiple votes across different party sides and all the other stuff. It wasn't just the presidential vote. I'm sure it was also local elections, some of these votes. So not all these votes were just, oh, these are Trumps that went to Biden. No, I'm not saying that. It's just the fact that this is a thing and it happened means it could have been even bigger than what they're admitting to right now. Virginia says, I only agree with Trump around his immigration rhetoric. He ain't wholly lying. Agreed. As they say, broken clock, right? So back to this other stuff, the separation amongst the party. Another person who's fracturing the party, Elon Musk, who kind of tucked his tail at Trump now because he acted like he was mad with Trump and started accusing him of being in the Epstein files, and then he took everything back like a bitch. But it is what it is. Let me show what some are saying about him.
The idea that, and it's Elon Musk doing it, by the way, it's a lot of the tech people, and then he's do anything. He could let you say the N-word on Twitter or whatever. But I'm sure you'd rather healthcare and you'd rather your kids maybe have a job at one of his fucking factories.
So the point he's making is Elon Musk, because Trump is making these points about immigration. And Elon Musk is saying the same thing. But if you go to Elon Musk's company and who he's hiring, it's a bunch of Indians. But because he lets you say all type of BS on Twitter and free speech, and he tweets out white people are endangered or white people have to face discrimination. He tweets that almost every damn day to get attention. Because he talks the way you want him to talk, but none of the business practice he uses actually benefits you as a so-called white American. He's not hiring you. He's not hiring you to work for his companies. He doesn't trust you. He literally got on camera and that back and forth he had with Trump right before that, and basically told you Americans that he don't care what you think. You're not smart enough to do the job, and he's going to bring people in who can. He called you dumbasses, pretty much. He called you incompetent. I don't understand how you still support a man who is an immigrant himself, who told you that immigrants are better workers than you, and he's going to continue to hire them in the country, and that you need to change your idea of what America is. But you know, he lets you say that. He lets you say nigga and all type of stuff on Twitter. Now, furthermore to this fragmentation, let me show this. Now, this next video is gonna come off more like a spoof. This woman is the woman who went viral. I think her name is Lily or something. But saying the N-word. She literally said nigga. She went viral. She says she's a racist and she says what she wants to say. And then they said it, they started accusing her of having a mixed child and nothing came from that. So I don't know if it's true or not. But now they're pushing this. It's the Jews' fault. Interracial dating. The Jews are doing everything wrong. They're kind of going away from even to being necessarily Trump supporters. They look at him as not going far enough, which is obviously what's going to happen when you push those top politics. It's going to want to go further and further. But this is going to sound like a spoof what I'm about to play, but I thought it was hilarious.
Man, you are truly alone. All the young white guys need to team up because it is us against the world. Everyone hates us. You guys need to wake up to that fact. We need to become racist and we need to take charge.
And by the way, don't buy into this propaganda that, oh, white girls are just whores. Let's go to fucking Colombia and get a cheap hooker.
Yeah.
This passport bro bullshit, that's Jewish as fuck. That's a Jewish psyop to make you have mongrel babies.
If you're non-white, if I was non-white and I wasn't in this battle like I am, if I was a black dude, I would be a passport bro.
Yeah.
For non-whites, I get it. Because you can go to a third world country and get a much hotter girl. You just can't. As an American with like more money, you can pull something way better in a third world country. But she's going to be brown. But if you're a black dude or if you're a brown dude, that's fine. If I was non-white, I think I would be a passport bro. But if you're white, we're going to have to wife up these hoes. You're going to have to suck it up and wife up one of these American white girls.
What the hell is going on? Hey, man. I'm telling you, the more and more these people talk, the more these people come online and try to speak towards this alleged victimhood that white people are going through. Let's just say this part. We don't have to agree with the points they're making, obviously. The people who spoke on these type of things, it sounded a lot more masculine. It sounded a lot more, had more strength in it in the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s. Like, the people who are speaking to this now are just idiots. Like, it just looks bad. Considering the woman next to you is a single mother. And you telling a white dude, we got to marry these white hoes. We gotta bite the bullet. Which is also a weird thing, because in that context, you're saying that the white men are all people who fit the criteria of being husbands, and the women are just trash. But we gotta sacrifice and be with them. It's a weird way to paint your women. And I've said this to Travis. I've said this to y'all for years, that if you watch movies written starring Caucasian people in America, look how they write women, and look how they write the men. The women are just scoundrels, adulterers, they just untrustworthy. They're naggers. They are people who are only there in the story to help the man realize his true potential when he leaves her. 90% of the time. Obviously, there's opposites, certain movies, romantic comedies, but even in those, The woman is a stumbling block in their stories. If you go back and watch these white movies, they make white women out to be just, even some of your top shows, Breaking Bad, all these other, the most hated characters be the lead woman. But anyway, Virginia said, you're hitting the nail on, you're hitting on the nails. Trump is in this for the money grab, and the foreigners are running America. Will to victory. What up? What up? Who gave the white trash a microphone? They all got them now. Keep saying, yes, I agree with you 100%. It's just the fall is just so steep. It's extremely noticeable. It's just, they're not even taking it serious at this point. Like, this comes off like a spoof. Like, they're not even being serious. Like, they're unable to really sell this. But yeah, I'm gonna play a little more of this. This is hilarious.
And but it'll be okay.
Your race matters that much. Like, if your race in 10 generations, your line will have continued. And nobody will care that your great-great-grandmother was a hoe, because you exist and you're more white people. The white race must be preserved at all causes. And by the way, girls become hoes when they don't have a guy putting them in line. So if like, most girls will take on the mindset of the guy that they're dating. So conservative, I'm not saying go out and get some radical, insane liberal, like that's beyond the pale, but most girls will kind of meld into who you are.
Now, y'all may disagree with me on this, but I actually agree with this part, and not just misogynistic or male-female situation. I think in healthy cultures, that's typically just what happens. It is what it is. It happens with the woman, because the woman normally, hopefully, marries someone who she actually likes. So the personality traits and his belief and morals on certain things would just be an extension of who she is, obviously. But I believe that part she got right. But the part she said about no one would care about your grandmother being a whore, at least you're white. That's just, this might be gold in a way that they don't think it would be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are being satirical in this. It's not meant to be taken serious. They're just making money off these people because they're idiots. But my God.
And if you just put them in their place, it'll be fine. And you got to do it for the race.
You got it. We're gonna have
race.
Well, and again, and circling back, this is why
I pray she doesn't have a mixed kid though. That would be it'd be even more hilarious.
I disagree with these pastors telling all these young men to wait till they're married, because none of the girls are virgins. Being a virgin man marrying a non-virgin woman is a terrible idea. You have no idea what you're getting. She's going to be able to just totally control you. You have no idea what you're getting into. So I do not, in America in 2025, I do not recommend waiting till marriage. As a man, if you're a woman, try and stay pure.
If I'm not mistaken, these are supposed to be Christians too, right? Well, they're not. I guess these are secular conservatives. They're different. It's fragmented. You have the manosphere right-wingers. You have the extreme right-wing racists. You got the Christian evangelical right-wingers. There's a split up. It's just all over the place.
But as a man, none of the girls in this country are virgins. You're not going to find a virgin wife. So if she's going to be ran through, you need to be ran through as well. Ran through. Men aren't run through. Men do the running through. But go rack up.
She wanted to laugh.
A body count, and then get yourself one.
All right, we get the point. All right, that was just hilarious to me. As Will the Victory said, the white trash got microphones now. Single mothers and metrosexual men out here teaching people masculinity and keep making sure that generations continue throughout the future. It's just all over the place. People says the internet brings out all the weirdos. Yeah, we supposed to really listen to this dude say that he wants to get married at some point.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
The Nick dude, the one that be going in on Candace Owens now, he's saying he ain't afraid of that black bitch. He said that, not me. That's what he said. The people who she, that's what he said to her. I'm just saying. He spoke against marriage and children. This is a man who said that the white race is dying, but he made fun of men who want to actually marry women and have children to continue their race. That's what I'm saying. It's just weirdos. It's just people just get in front of the mic and just gain an audience by saying certain things that they agree with, and then just start doing these rants where they expose themselves as something obviously opposite of what they say. Keep said that the last guy's probably gay along with Nick. He has to be. Speaking like that, he gotta be. But yeah. All right, next up I got a show, and I'm going down a little bit of a line of the white victimhood thing. I'm not gonna stay on this too long, though. So, and they've been going to some deep stuff later, or at least something I find deep. Me personally, at least. All right, this here got an ad for y'all. I want y'all to listen to.
I'm Andrea Lucas, chair of the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Are you a white male who's experienced discrimination at work based on your race or sex? You may have a claim to recover money under federal civil rights laws. Contact the EOC as soon as possible. Time limits are typically strict for filing a claim. The EOC is the federal agency charged with enforcing federal anti-discrimination law against businesses and other private sector employers. The EOC is committed to identifying, attacking, and eliminating all forms of race and sex discrimination, including against white male applicants and employees. Check out eoc.gov to learn more and read our one-page explainer about DEI-related discrimination.
I'm sure to say that this is a thing that's being manufactured in every last part of the internet, or should I say part of the industry even. You're seeing people from corporate America and law use certain language, which has been popularized obviously through social media means, but the victim, that is white man in the corporate America, this is crazy. I can only imagine if you took a person, not even regardless of race or gender, a person from 1950 and just dropped them into America right now, they would just be shocked. I think they'll be more shocked by what they hear from white people than anybody else. It's them that would make them go, what the fuck is wrong with you? But anyway, next up, show one more, and then we move on to the next topic.
Too often these days, young white men are discounted and told that their opinions don't matter, they are toxically masculine, that they have some sort of privilege and their conversation and contributions don't matter. I'm running for Florida governor because Florida is our home, America is our birthright, and we can never, ever sell out the men who built this country.
Now, excuse me if it turns out that this actually turns out to be AI. Because I'm seeing these profiles pop up across social media that look like people with full lives, careers, families, have prior history on social media. And some of those profiles are turning out to be fake. Absolutely just AI generated slop. But I'm seeing them use this as a lot of the talking points. I remember in the early stages of when the AI thing started really taking off, it was a lot of black people type of slop type thing, just something small little things. There was a video that went viral, not too viral, of a black AI female character walking through Black Hollywood, meeting these black celebrities from the 90s. Like small stuff like that, it didn't really mean anything. There was no real political or social agenda behind it other than just promoting the use of it, obviously. But I'm seeing more stuff like this, but hopefully it is an AI because it proves my point of the apathy that's growing in this country amongst that particular demographic. But yeah. Next up, the showdown is happening. It's a lot going on. Where is all right. Ben Shapiro goes scorched earth on MAGA over Candace Owens, Tucker, and Fuentes, or Nick, I'm gonna call him Nick, at TPUSA conference. Ben Shapiro also railed against Nick, labeling him a Hitler apologist, Nazi-loving, anti-American piece of refuse. Now let me show. So those two people in particular, Nick and Candace, has led to a more fragmentation, as I said, where he's going far right in the racial sense, the white supremacists or white nationalists means, and she's splitting it up because she keeps calling out white people for BS. Now she was at her, and she probably her most popular now. Her last stream I saw, I didn't watch it, but I saw you see her numbers. She had 320,000 people in a live stream. I said, it seems like she was keeping the light on at Daily Wire because she might have gotten even more popular since. I heard she got $1,000 tier on Patreon or something, and I'm pretty sure she's making good money off of it. Because she keeps going at the the Israeli situation. So that's fragmenting the evangelical Christian, the Zionist side of the right wing. She's going at Charlie Kirk, who she now not going against her no more. She had a meeting with her, and now she's saying there wasn't as much of a conspiracy at all. And I'm like, okay, one meeting, alleged 4 hours sit down, and you change your tune completely. The bag was big, I guess. And the thing she's got going on with Macron's wife, Bridget. I want to show the clip here where she talked to Piers Morgan about that situation with the so-called wife of the president, the prime minister.
The reason I told the Alex Jones story is he did incredibly well out of Sandy Hook with his investigations. But as was established in the court case against him, brought by the families eventually, and I think we're going to see the same thing with Brigitte Macron and you, is that he was weaponizing deliberate lies for money. And I think you
Brigitte
did that.
Macron has a penis. I really want you to know that.
Brigitte Macron does not have a penis.
Brigitte Macron has a penis.
No, she doesn't.
I'm sorry.
She had 3 children.
Did she get it removed?
She had 3 children.
Yeah, you can have adoptive children. You can call somebody, but Brigitte Macron was born a dude named Jean-Michel Trogneau.
Well,
and I just feel, I want you to know that. I want you to know that Brigitte Macron probably stands peeing up. Probably pee standing up is what I want you to know.
The beauty is we have a big bet.
I think Brigitte
we have a big
stands.
bet, and we're going to find out because it's going to court. And you will lose that court case. I think you will.
Here's the thing, and I said this when this case first came up, and Candace be hilarious sometimes. But I said, if a transitioned woman, right, files a case against somebody for defamation because they said they are an opposite gender as what they purport they are, but they've changed it legally on their birth certificate and everything else, if I sue you for that, is that not considered defamation? A man decides to be a woman, legally changes his gender, gets called a man, sues. I think in this wild, wacko world, they can sue for that now and win. Now, I think in a case, even if you lose, if you can prove this person was once a man, then you win the social. You still win regardless. Even if you lose, you win. And I think that's the plan she has. But even if I lose, I win. Like this, I win either way if this keeps going forward. I can't lose. Even if you win the case, I still win. But that was hilarious. Now, I did want to get to some of this right here. I want to show a little bit of this. Hold on. It was lagging a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna. Yeah, I'm just gonna play a little bit of this. Hold on. Hopefully it's not lagging.
Those who don't know what you're referring to, the Trump call, what does that mean?
So I was called by Trump in February. Emmanuel Macron had visited Trump, and I had done this series about, it was about his wife, Brigitte Macron. And the series got a lot of views, and Emmanuel Macron personally flew to DC and asked Trump to ask me to shut up, to just stop speaking about his wife. And
Did you know this was going to rise to the level of international incident?
No. And it's actually making me go back, and historically I'm thinking, all the times that we were told that a war ended because of this or because of that. If this was one element of negotiation of Emmanuel Macron to Trump, and the topic of why he was, ostensibly there was to discuss the end of the Ukrainian and Russian war, but you're taking Trump aside and you're asking him to shut up this podcaster in the US. I'm wondering if anything that we're told in our history books is real.
Now, it's so funny to me too, by the way, that she gained her support from kicking black people's back in left and right, quote unquote, as they call it, telling the truth. And now that she's dealing with their people and kicking their backs in, now it's an issue. Now it's causing fragmentation. It's no longer unity, it's no longer support. All of a sudden, I seen people that I never thought would talk bad about her, calling her all type of N-words and idiots and low IQ and clout chasing, basically. It's just it's a crazy turnaround that just happened with her. As they say, you know who's in power based off of who you're not allowed to talk about. Now let me show this. I think it's the last part. Yeah, we're gonna get to something funny after this.
They were sort of most upset with what obviously a bit of a fever pitch, when I tweeted that it was a godforsaken company and people should not give money to it. And I have to own that. That's aggressive. That is actually aggressive in the retrospect. I was very frustrated. And I don't know, I felt like we weren't getting any answers and there were so many lies. And then I was getting attacked for asking all meaningful questions that was within their capacity to answer.
Keep in mind, by the way, she got backlash because a person who she said it was her friend, she was asking for a further investigation into the assassination of him publicly. Brutal public assassination. She was asking more questions than the actual wife of the man who was killed. She was asking more, she was seen more in grief and in pain than the person who was actually married to him with children. But yeah.
And I told you, I definitely, my problem in life is that I can rise to anger very quickly. I shared with them that I really felt like I was under attack for telling the truth from the very beginning, like casually when I mentioned the Catholicism thing. Like, what was that about? I was like, look, I say something in a tribute to him. Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett then jump onto a podcast and they're doing that weird interview, which is clearly bad.
So she got on her podcast and pretty much ended the beef, I guess. Like I said, in front of 320,000 people. And it showed why you just can't, some people you just don't put too much into because something was said or something was given or maybe answers were given in that meeting she had with the wife, the widow. And it just pretty much ended it. It's cold now. Just goodbye. Oh, that's crazy. But then somebody found this in the midst of their hate train against her. And I gotta believe that it was the other side that found this. I don't think it was even black people that found this. Maybe y'all already seen this. I didn't see it. Maybe y'all already knew this. I didn't know it. But they found out that Candace Owens apparently was either she was in a group or she was a video vixen. Let me show this here. When I saw this, I immediately thought, this person, Candace Owens, has lived 30 different lives in the short amount of time she's been on this planet. The amount of different places we've seen this woman, whether it's politics, now music, all over the place. We've seen this woman sue a school for discrimination. We've seen this woman a part of Democratic think tanks. We've seen this woman jump to right-wing talking points, Trump supporting. She was in a music video. People said, shut the front door. You know what? I can't even act too surprised. I'm not even able to act as surprised as I was when I saw it, because immediately when I saw it, you're surprised and then it's go, okay, yeah. Who would have thought that the start of Candace Owens' life, she at one point was associating herself with rap? And like I said, I don't know if she was in a group or if she was just a girl in the video. I know she was a part of a talent agency. The same one that had, what's the white politician name? The woman out of Arizona, I think. The one who was in the movie theater giving a handy to her new man after the divorce. Forgot her name. Boet. How do you say her name? Lisa something. She's also part of the same agency. So I could imagine Candace Owens, part of this talent agency. She is an actor, Caribbean, by the way. Make sure to say on that, on her talent agency description. It says she's Caribbean. Even though, and when she started having that back and forth about Kamala Harris not being black, she started leaning real heavily on her North Carolina grandfather. But we're not going to get into that. Bobert. Thank you, Keeper. Bobert. That's her name. Regina says, when these details emerge, I just think they all part of the lies. Blowbert. Yeah, all these people are characters, man. It was, yeah. Oh, Lord. Bruh, so many places this could go. A talent agency where it leads Candace Owens into a rap video of a video that never came out, if I'm not mistaken. It never even came out. To now a political talking head for right-wing politics. It's just like, she lived a full life, man. She lived a full life. You said I'm shocked. I looked at this video like 100 times yesterday. Like, this, what am I seeing? This is no way. And the song is trash, by the way. So that's probably why it never came out. I'm sorry. Oh, Candace Owens. Oh boy. Many lives. Anyway, let's get to a little bit of a darker part of the news. As I said earlier, the Epstein files, quote unquote, were released on the day for yesterday. Mom Donnie was a rapper. He had a video that I think Kiefer brought it up or sent it. I can't remember. But he was rapping with his grandmother in the video, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's a rapper. Which I guess, like I said, I wasn't surprised by that. He's a young, I think he's millennial, ain't he? Young millennial who grew up. Hip hop is so popular. Like it's hard to be under the age of 40 and hip hop not have been some part of your childhood growing up. So him being a rapper is not really a big surprise. But Epstein files, or should I say pictures, because that's all that people are talking about, because they pretty much everything is blacked out on these files. It's pointless to even try to read them for the most part. So all we getting from it is pictures been floating around of different celebrities and entertainers who in these files with Epstein. I said, man, if you're just an everyday person who maybe you're an entertainer, athlete, or whatever, and you somehow ended up in a picture with Epstein, you are fucked. Because they didn't give no explanation to why you're in the pictures. It's just the pictures and some documents with some blacked out names. So you don't even know, they're not even telling people why you were around them or nothing. People got to find it out on their own, which means they're not going to do it at all. So let me show some of this here. By the way, extremely HD. And it kind of proves that there had to be some type of honeypot going on, because almost every interaction this man had with people, he made sure to document it. And if there's pictures, that means that's more than likely video, obviously. Hold on, let me get to this. All right. Democrat of House Oversight Committee released a new trench of photos Thursday from Jeffrey Epstein's estate ahead of the broader release of the Epstein files that are slated to take place by the end of Friday. So all the stuff that was blacked out, I'm pretty sure within the next week, we'll see people have pull more stuff out of it, I guess. We don't need to read all this. That's him there with the Trump former advisor, Steve Bannon. Not a surprise. There's Bill Gates popped up a lot. The people who look the most guilty right now are Bill Gates and Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton stayed on that damn plane. Bill Clinton stayed on that island, left him. He was always around this man. That was his buddy. Like, he was a real buddy to Bill. That was his homie. But these random pictures with women, who they faced, they blacked out. We know who that is. Woody Allen, who left the country because of his accusations. In proof of it, he's a sick man, but he was able to leave the country and go on about his life. The co-founder of Google, Sergey, he was around him. And then tried to send some. Well, this is a text thread that was sent, I guess, by let me read this. An undated screenshot from text messages from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, released by the House Oversight Committee on December 18th. So you see this text thread says, I don't know, try to send someone else. I have a friend, Scout. She sent me some girls today, but she asked $1,000 per girl. I will send you girls now. Maybe someone will be good for Jay. He told the name, age, height, measurements, weight, and what city they're from. This person was from Russia, apparently. This young victim, more than likely. And then Noam Chomsky, Mr. Free Speech, Mr. Called that book Consent, Manufactured Consent. Completely just debunked it. They don't care what you do about all that bullshit now. You were buzzed with Epstein, which is not a surprise, but considering his lineage, you know how that go. Yeah, let's run through some people. Dude who wrote about him in the article we talked about, and then we can go Chris Tucker. For years, his name was on that list, and I was one of the Negroes saying that's another Chris Tucker. That's not Chris Tucker from Friday. That's not Chris Tucker from Rush Hour. That's not Chris Tucker. That's some white dude who's on the plane. Others said, no, that's him. There was a charity event apparently in Africa, South Africa or something. He rode the plane to go to the charity. So Chris Tucker was in these files. Then Michael Jackson. And this picture looked crazy. Mike looked crazy in this picture. As much as we know what was going on with his skin, this might be the whitest I've ever seen a person look. Michael Jackson looks like he looks white as the wall he's standing in front of right now. Like that, this picture looked crazy. But anyway, then this one came out in the files, but that's when the controversy started because the controversy started because in these pictures, Virginia said he looks like a ghost. And sorry, Mike, I gotta say it. I used to be angry. I'm not angry. I ain't gonna say the word angry. Oh, let me. I didn't like the way Scary Movie presented Michael Jackson, the Wayne brother. I didn't like how they did Mike in the movie, even though that's after they lost control of it. How they were mocking him with the extremely white skin and all that stuff, painting him as a pedo or whatever. But he literally looks like the fake Mike from Scary Movie in that picture. That shit looked crazy. Virginia said, smooth criminal. Mars a lot more. We ain't gonna do that to Mike. Smooth criminal makes a lot more sense to me now. Nah, I'm still a delusional, I guess. I'm still not gonna go along with it. I'm still gonna assume the best from old Mike. But this picture here was talked about a lot because it's Michael Jackson, Bill Clinton, and Diana Ross, right? But there's two black boxes covering two people. Now, when I first saw this, I say, is Diana Ross topless? Like, why the hell did they block out the two spots in front of Diana Ross? Is she in there naked? What's she doing with Bill Clinton and Michael Jackson? But it turned out that wasn't what it was. Virginia says Mike was exposing the elites, and that video is what I mean. Mike wasn't okay, yeah. When he got on stage and got on him, yeah. But this picture is old. So the picture they released in the files is a picture that was already on the internet, which is Michael Jackson, Bill Clinton, Diana Ross, her son, and Michael Jackson's two children, as they call them, his two adopted children. So apparently this was not on the plane. This was at his house. Apparently Michael Jackson was going to do some real estate situation. He was looking for some properties, and he met up with Epstein and Bill Clinton and stuff. But Bill is in a lot of these pictures. It's kind of crazy. There's a picture of Bill Clinton in a pool with some young woman, him getting a massage or something. Bill, he stayed at that house. It was crazy. He put his feet up when he went over there. That was second home. But with Epstein, this is the furthest I went into what I used to do like years ago. I used to go do a lot of research on the other stuff going on in Hollywood behind the scenes and the trafficking rings they have going on. And I couldn't help but think about Epstein, all the people he's associated with, And the forgotten component that I believe child ritualistic sacrifice was happening. I don't think it was just people that was just pedos or traffickers just wanting to be with young girls. We've heard Epstein say he believed that he was a person that needed to clone himself through putting babies and women to create a superior demographic to save the planet, pretty much. He needed to clone himself because he's the perfect specimen, he believed, with intelligence and all this stuff. And then this right here came from the files. Epstein, Israel, and the CIA. Because it's kind of obvious that Epstein was working with the CIA because he actually became a snitch when he got jammed up and he ratted on some Wall Street dude. He ratted on him for fraud, money laundering, and he was able to get off. So he's a CIA informant. But how the Iran-Contra planes landed at Les Wexner's base. Les Wexner, who I keep bringing up when it comes to Epstein, because that's where Epstein gets his money. Les Wexner literally gave his money, his whole estate, over to Epstein to run it for him. Full control. He was told not to do it. That you shouldn't trust him. They even said, I smell a rat, don't trust him. He fired his advisor and gave Epstein complete control over his estate, do whatever he wanted to do with the money, yada, yada, yada. And in this article, they went through the details of the relationship he had with him. People always bring up the $1 mansion that he gave him. He paid $1 for a mansion. So they go into the history of him and who he was. And it made me think of a whole bunch of, because now you got the military involved. You're landing Iran-Contra planes at Les Wexner's base, who we know was pretty much his whole estate is ran by Epstein. So did Les Wexner have something to do with that, or was that Epstein? So then last week I told y'all about a character. Well, y'all already know him probably, but I was talking about Sammy Davis Jr. and the satanic connections he had in his career and his life. And I talked about Anton LaVey. The other person that picture that I don't know how I forgot to say his name, was Michael Aquino, who was a military, he was in the military, lieutenant colonel in the military, an out Satanist, literally. You can look him up. He defined himself as a Satanist. He actually founded the temple of Set. Now, there's nothing I can tell you about Michael Aquino where you would think I'm saying. Like, the stuff I would say about him that's been proven, most of the stuff has been proven as facts, you would think this is a character from a comic book. It's not real. This is crazy. But if you go look this man up, he was everything evil that he wanted to be. It's pretty wild. And in this article right here, actually going into detail about the relationship, like I said, between Les Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein, where it says, how Les Wexner's money built Jeffrey Epstein's dirty empire. Now, that man I was talking about just now, this is him. This is Michael Aquino, the military dude who was an out Satanist. He actually was, he wasn't even kicked out of the military. He left with honors after being accused of some sick stuff with children. The investigation that was going on with him stopped cold turkey, boom, stop, boom, and he left the military with honors, respected. Look at the man's eyebrows. He literally turned his eyebrows into horns to look like horns on his forehead. His wife's name is Lilith. Now, if you don't know, a man who calls himself a Satanist and marrying a woman named Lilith is funny because Lilith is associated with the name of, you may not believe in the scriptures or whatever, but in some people's belief, that was Adam's first wife. And that's where people believe the idea of abortion comes from, because Adam's first wife, Lilith, didn't want children. She aborted a kid. It's a whole thing that goes on with this Michael Aquino dude and his beliefs. Virginia says, I'm familiar with all of this stuff, people you're talking about, and unfortunately the U.S. Americans as a collective were clueless by design for the programming. Yeah. When I saw the military connection with Epstein, I couldn't help but think, oh yeah, I forgot. In the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was a child killing ring in America that they covered up. There was so many cults that popped up. If you think about the 80s in general, that was the era of the satanic propaganda in the media, where it was the biggest fear. You know, they made programming, TV programming, movies based off of Satanism, all the boogeyman Satanism. And what's funny is underground, it was a thing that was really happening. Child ritualistic sacrifice. We start getting into these rings existing for the purpose of creating these MK Ultra people that can be used to be programmed to do. It's a lot going on. As a matter of fact, some of the names you might know. You talk about the story of John Wayne Gacy, who he's obviously in prison for committing those murders against young boys, but he got in prison and told you, I didn't do it alone. And if you go, there's a YouTube video I watched yesterday that does a whole documentary on all of how all this stuff is connected. If you go back to the serial killer Dean Carroll out of Texas, he literally was making videos to sell in a underground ring, but he was doing it for a man named Roy Ames, I think his name was. I saw the dude in the video referred to him as the Berry Gordy of Texas country. So, and he was a wealthy man, was caught with tons of child abuse stuff, tons in factories. It was a literal ring. People selling this stuff as magazine. It's a lot going on. Then you get to people like John Norman, who was another person who was helping sell this stuff across the country. That's what I think Epstein was. I think this thing goes way deeper than we think. When you talk about someone like John David Norman, he's called the pedophile of pedophiles. That's the man who founded NAMBLA. You know, the National Organization of Man-Boy Love. Yeah, a serial pedophile created that organization, and it still exists. But the fact that it even exists is crazy. But the fact that the person who started it was the criminal that people think that they are. It's crazy world, man. Virginia says foreigners who run the country practice the occult. Meanwhile, Americans practice religion, but really the rulers mix both. Yeah. Like when you find out that people who practice hoodoo, they use the Bible. They use Bible scriptures to perform stuff. So, like even Epstein Island, that ain't the first island that did what he's alleged to have been doing. I think Michigan North Fox Island, ran by that millionaire. I forgot his name. Shucker, I forgot with an S. Shutter something. He was literally the same thing as Epstein. He ran off to Europe and got away, but he was a millionaire dude who ran an island in North Fox and was able to do the same thing. And guess what they were doing? It was a ring. They were selling the tapes, the snuff films across the country. Hell, Son of Sam, the dude who was going around shooting people in New York, he had affiliations with Manson, or at least the cult that both of them were a part of. So when you talk about the 60s, 70s, and 80s was filled with a bunch of underground snuff film, child abuse films being sold across the country. There was mob. John Wayne Gacy, the person he worked for his company, was associated with one of the aldermen who was associated with the mob in Chicago. It was a big criminal organization. And I think Epstein thing is being covered the way it is right now is because if they went past the toe to the ankle in that story, it would blow this whole world. And I realized a long time ago when you talk about stuff like this, most people don't want to hear it. Most people don't want to know how much this stuff is around them. Hell, if you look at your app on your phone, any app that got criminality on your phone, you can look up the database and see who's around you. Look up these sexual offenders in your neighborhood, your city, your state, the country. Like, people don't even want that. So let alone talking about how much this stuff is going on underground and these missing children from foster homes. I remember like 2 years ago, they said there was a bunch of black kids missing in Washington, D.C. All these kids were popping up missing. It was like, well, we don't want to say the truth because it's scary and you just don't want to think that exists in the world because it's so evil. But, it is what it is. Anywho, yeah, got a little dark there after the Candace story, I know, but I can't help. I feel like this Jeffrey Epstein thing is not going nearly where it should go. And some of the names they're not even mentioning. Like they're not even talking, like a name like Jack Parsons. You know, the rocket guy, as I call him, the rocket expert. You know, that man was in the military. He's a flat out Thelemite. He's a Thelemite occultist. He believed in the idea of Thelemai, do as thou wilt. These people are the stuff that a lot of people just frown at and look at it just people being silly and don't believe in. Some of the people that are most powerful people around you, people you take serious and respect their intellect and their reasoning and logic. These people are occultic. The Nazis they brought over from Germany. Those German Nazis are all occultic. They believe in the occult. I guess you could call them quote unquote Satanists, which is not really the same thing because most Satanists are just atheists. They believe that we are God and we invented ourselves and yada, yada, yada. That's just self-worship. It's not even really a spiritual thing. It's more lighthearted. When you start talking about the people who believe in the spiritual element of this stuff, the occult stuff, it gets, it's a lot of stuff going around you that we just blind to. Bobby Hemmett stated there is no such thing as morality. That's some of the beliefs you get from people that believe in the occult thing, you know, a lot of the Satanists or not agnostic. That's people who don't believe in, who don't know what to believe. What's it called? Nihilistic. I think I'm saying that wrong, but they don't believe in nothing. Nothing. It's all just death. You die and you just rot. Yeah. The religious people will pursue morality for the most part, and occult practices is magic, rituals, and sacrifices. Yeah, hard to grasp. Yeah, most people, they hear this stuff and they just black out. They just kind of, they're just like, yeah. It's not. I think, although I'm not into it and stuff, I do think it's interesting to see how far someone will go. I'll speak on the Kinsley dude who started the Kinsley Institute, and how this man, how sick he was, and how it's crazy how often the sickest people have the most influence over society when it comes to just the Kinsley Institute is treated like this uphill thing now, and it's something that the person who created it tried to get rid of the morality of sex in the damn early 1900s. He was somebody trying to convince the public that we're all disgusting. We all have certain things that we would say publicly we wouldn't do that behind the scenes we do, and it's like him along with what's his name, the Playboy dude. But I already spoke about that before. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Let's move on now. We're gonna get to some less dark things now. We can turn it up a little bit. Speak on some other things. Hold on. All right. Let's get into this now. Spend a little time on this. Not gonna spend too much though. Now I'm reading this story. I'm thinking about the last one. Tax targeting Gullah Geechee landowners at Sapelo Island could force land laws. They made me think about why they want these black people off this island in Georgia, because they want to have these millionaires on there doing sick stuff. But anyway, let me just read a little bit of this. A community of Gullah Geechee descendants on Sapelo Island, Georgia, are potentially facing a massive property tax increase that threatens to push them off their ancestral land and kick open the door of massive development on the island into the vacation community for the wealthy. I'm not gonna read the whole article. Basically, the headline says everything. They've been doing this all throughout South Carolina and even in Georgia, obviously. Where they're taking this land, raising the prices, trying to take the homes of these people in these areas. Even though this place is marked as a historical community of African Americans. It's literally marked as a historical community. So they're trying to pretty much go around that, raise the taxes over the next, I think, 5 years, or is it 10 years? I think it's 5 years. Raise the taxes to pretty much run them off. They've been doing this all over the country. I mean, I think I said a story I never got to in New York. Hey, I never got to the story in New York of a black dude who owned a townhouse. He lost his townhouse because of a light bill from 20 years ago. Sorry. I want to say he lost his home from a light bill from 20 years ago or something like that. They found a loophole to get him to lose the property. It's a lot of messed up stuff going on. But this here. This is Mr. Moore. Governor Moore. Where's Moore? Remember a few months ago when the study was brought to him for reparations, he came out and he vetoed it. And then when he was asked about it, he said, we don't need studies, yada, yada, yada. The talking points he used, most people agree with, but it just looked like it's a crazy headline to hear Wes Moore shuts down, vetoes bill to study reparations. And then it came even worse when people realized he's an immigrant who, in essence, you can say, if you stretch it far enough, an immigrant stopped Black Americans from getting reparations. It just seems like a crazy headline that it's never going to benefit you. Well, the Maryland to consider slavery reparations after Governor Wes Moore veto is overridden. Potential reparations outlined in the bill include official statements of apology, monetary compensation, property tax rebates, and social service assistance, as well as licensing and permit fee waivers and reimbursement. So they vetoed it. They're not going to push it through for the study, at least. And obviously he had to distance himself from it because he wanted to run for office. So it doesn't benefit him to be associated with passing that through. So it was supposed to do. I'll veto it, and then y'all override me, and we'll both win. And didn't want it, and then y'all overrid me and went through it anyway. So you still get the study. Google agrees to pay $28 million to settle claims in favored white and Asian workers. Now, in this right here, they made sure to tell the Latinos not to include the Blacks in their lawsuit. We'll pay you, but don't include the Blacks. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Black people are suing already. There's already a lawsuit going on with them. I don't know if that's because when I looked it up, it kept bringing up the lawsuit with, I think, Amazon that happened in California that involved Latinos being racist to those Black people. So this is Google, and it's saying that they favored whites and Asians. $28 million. The Google agreed to pay $28 million to settle a class action lawsuit claiming that it favored white and Asian employees by paying them more and putting them in higher career tracks than other workers. The agreement with Google, the unit of Alphabet Google, won preliminary approval last week from Judge Charles Adams in the Santa Clara County Superior Court in California. He called the statement fair, reasonable, and good result for the class of at least 6,600 people employed by Google in California between February 15th, 2018. Sorry about that. And December 31st, 2024. Google spokesperson Courtney Mancini confirmed that the settlement Tuesday, but said, we continue to disagree with the allegations that we treated anyone differently and remain committed to paying, hiring, and leveling all employees fairly. The lawsuit was led by Anna Cantu, who identified as Mexican and racially indigenous, on behalf of Hispanic, Latina, Latinx, Indigenous, Native American, American Indian, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, and Alaskan Native employees at Google. Hold on. I really should have got some tea. Anyway, so yeah, they finally banded together the Asians pretty much, which is funny that they're suing the Mexicans and Indians and Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders. They're suing because Google treated Asians better, but they're Asian too. That's always like, all right. Okay. Now I want to show this here. Let me show this here.
Regarding U.S. repair and reparations, a few weeks ago, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, signed legislation that would create, I mean, I see you nodding, obviously you know better than me, a state agency to determine who actually qualifies as...
Oh, what up, Drake? What's good?
A descendant of slavery. Progress is, quite slow on all of this. Tell me, what do you think of that legislation? Is that going to help?
You know, I commend Governor Newsom for the bills that he has passed. I want him to do more, as our partners in California also want him to do more. I look forward to the governor's race in California. But, you know, I think something that we've learned from reparations efforts all over the globe is that this work is iterative. This work takes time. And that's why it is not only policy change work, but culture change work. And I think Ruti would know as well, you know, I think this work needs to build on itself. And I think that's what we're seeing at the city and state level across the country. And that's why our approach is bottom up, because you can actually learn from the policies.
Hold on, y'all. I want to get to a particular part.
2021 rating, you know, culture
perspective. We see the way that public opinion can change over time when you do exactly that, when you tell stories and when you really show people the need for this work. And so that's why an entire pillar of our work is actually narrative change work, because we want to actually tell a new story to the country about what reparations are and who they're for and why they matter. And in particular, why this is not just about Black Americans, it's about all Americans.
So she said that. I want to show that she's a part of Liberation Ventures, which is a white-owned, entity. And I started thinking, because I read this, this dude said, why is no one talking about all of our so-called radical aspects of our culture, or at least social justice things we want to do? It's all funded by the people who are supposed to be against. When you talk about whether you're a Pan-African and you go, well, they teach Pan-African and Africana studies in Ivy League and regular PWI institutions in America. So why would an institution like college teach you or try to quote unquote radicalize you in their institution? Because that's not the point. I'm not if I'm teaching you, I'm controlling the entire narrative. Nothing I teach you is ever going to help you defeat me. You know, like, this is not how it works. Then you start looking at other aspects like reparations. Why are white people or white organizations and entities and money backing reparations push? Why are they backing these Pan-African pushes? Why are they backing these so-called, all these other things that's going on amongst Black Americans? And then you realize, oh, coin. We always talk about COINTELPRO, but coin or counterinsurgency. That's what it really is, which is something that's going on with our community forever. And we about to go further into that. First, I'm going to focus on coin from a community standpoint, Black people in general. All these things are fake. And this is what I saw Yvette Carnell say this. She said, Liberation Ventures is not a grassroots organization or movement. They don't belong in this reparations space or conversation. This group is funded by white money and anti-lineage, which makes them anti-reparations. This is a white capitalist putting their surrogates on TV so that they can get to decide what reparations look like. Now do you splinters see the problem with taking money from these people? You've mainstreamed them because they can now show that they're funding Black-led organizations, quotations, that is the currency they're using to displace us in the movement we built. Had all these Black groups turned down the funding, they would have lacked legitimacy in the space. The way some of y'all chase nickels and dimes is so embarrassing. Using that LV money to pay for a conference and hardly anyone attended. Was it worth it? Now, so Keep said very true. I feel like I'm talking about it from a slightly different perspective than Yvette Carnell. She's focusing strictly on the reparations movement, how this is being used to squander it away, to act like they're helping, but really they're sabotaging it. I get it. But when you look at it from the macro perspective and how it's affected every aspect of our lives, from politics to social movements, everything, it reminded me of why in the 60s it kind of worked. Lack of trust to everybody else. It worked because people actually went through war. People went through war, so they understood what it take to win one. So when we talk about coin or counterinsurgency, it's something that it has existed for the better part, or at least it's been known to exist. It probably did it way further back. And not only is it it's turned from just Black people to a gender problem, sexuality, and then it became immigrant included. Anybody non-white was considered one big blob of something that supposedly had all the same aspirations, when that's not true. I saw this right here. 1986 article discussing the political differences between Caribbeans and Black Americans. Caribbean blacks are also credited with the late Representative Joseph Adebayo's 1982 and 84 victories in a majority Black Queens district over a Black challenger backed by Jesse Jackson. So in that little, what they wrote, the Black American candidate lost because the immigrant population had different aspirations. While one side voted for community, the other side voted for upward mobility. I just want access. So I'm voting for the person that I think can give us access to it. And the other person is voting for what the community needs. So you got this one group that's a bunch of individuals inside of a group versus the other one acting as one step. And they end up losing it. Now you could say, based off of the numbers, the other way seems to work. Voting for upward mobility over community progress tends to work for the community. And I can say, well, you can say that's true, but the typical groups that use that are not considered a threat, not considered the main threat. It's people that are not as big a population as such. When you look at the Latino vote in particular, it's kind of split down the middle. So they're kind of, it's a constant tug of war each election to get more people, more of that group to vote for you than the other, but they're more 50-50 than any other group. Then I want to show this here. This kind of went viral. I want to show this clip here.
Influence, and no, I'm not just talking about weeds and turning them into collard greens or taking innards and turning them into chitterlings. I'm talking about the fact that we have persevered and
let me make sure I show the whole clip. Hold on.
I would have said the same thing about my own countries in the continent. We have no culture.
We have culture, we have influence, and no, I'm not just talking about...
I really wish I didn't put the music over it, but whatever.
About weeds and turning them into collard greens or taking innards and turning them into chitterlings. I'm talking about the fact that we have persevered and we are the most copied individuals on the planet. So much so, if I'm wrong, please explain Akon to me. Please explain Burna Boy to me. They all do a variation of who we are. And I'm not just talking about music. I'm talking about the walk. I'm talking about the talk. I'm talking about the hairstyles. I'm talking about the innovation. Everything we do. We took a construction worker's boot and made it the hottest item for the past 40 years. Because everybody finds a way to profit off of what we create and then demonize us for creating it. And then label us criminals, uneducated, unwilling, we don't care. But they don't talk about all the systemic things that have been set up and profited by people who want to keep us in a certain box.
Not only has it been influenced from within, obviously. You talk about things that we have to lean on in America as far as our culture, things we call culture, which is just stuff that was birthed out of our trauma. The stuff that people learn about us is through the same people that teach us our history, that teach us how we're supposed to fix it. So then, make sure this is it. Yeah. Now this is just a quick off. Mark Gordon said this one. I want to play this right quick. This is kind of off topic, but I want to play it right quick.
This is them from America. Like, what was your like? What's your one? This is
American food. Yeah. First, we're good at pizza. We're good at hamburger.
No, but those are all like.
It doesn't really have like there's no American food.
In the original clip, I want to jump past this. So this is them showing the what's his name, Godfrey. He had a conversation on the podcast where they were talking about all things, culture of different groups or whatever. They were asked a question about American food versus UK food, and they said American don't have food. But when they spoke about the UK, they said if you want real UK food or good UK food, you have to go eat ethnic food, as they call it. But they missed on soul food being a part of America because they don't consider you actually a part of it. But I wanted, because this is Mark sent this. It was like your homeboy Godfrey, who's supposed to be this ally, talking down on Black American cuisine. But even that, your food came out of what you were forced to create with it. So nothing you have access to in this country is really your decision. Let me play this one here. Let me play this. This is the last part of this segment.
A tether is a person that comes to this country.
Don't worry about the tether. Do you think there's a difference between financial Black American versus an African? Because I feel like even though I was born in Africa, most of my life was raised in America. I joined the military and I was ready to die for this country.
Yeah.
So technically speaking, I am African American.
Yeah, you are African American.
So do you think there's a difference between
those two?
You
deserve every bit of America that you fought for and did everything for. Yeah. But your ancestors ain't do nothing for this country. But be honest with us. Yeah. Let's be real. They got us here. If it wasn't for their hard work, if it wasn't for what
you are the resident African American right now.
If African Americans win in their struggle in the United States, that is a blueprint for us in Africa and the rest of the world.
Boom. Now, I'm setting this up. Back to my original point. If you actually get out of the situation you're in, which is funny because when you look at places like what's the name of that country? I forgot the name of the country where the president right now going back and forth with France. He trying to kick them out of the country. I forgot his name now. What they're doing, you see what's going on in certain places throughout Central Africa. Some parts of West Africa, how they're trying to decolonize themselves and gain control over their mines and stuff. They do mines as in gold, diamond mines and stuff, gold, minerals. If they are able to do that, then how much of a bigger deal would it be if you were able to do it in America? So then, got to this right here. Speaking of this right here, this final point here I want to make on this. Let me show the screen. This is by Myron J. Clay Gilmore. He's I guess you call him a black male scholar, black male study scholar, but he talk about plenty of other things, political science and all the other stuff. And he spoke about counter insurgency. He said, introducing the Clay Gilmore Institute of Philosophy, Technology, and Counterinsurgency. So when I read this, and pretty much the synopsis, give a synopsis of this, what he wrote in his Substack, he basically making the point that, because remember he's part of Black Male Studies, he's making the point that there is gendered violence towards men. He was stationed in the military in Philippines. He saw how they used coin, counterinsurgency, to destabilize what was going on with the guerrilla warfare going on over there, which lasted 40 years. So they was able to withstand a lot of the stuff that the CIA was doing, the military and CIA was doing. But when he got to America, he seen him using the same tactics on the American citizen, in particular, his people, Black people. And then I started thinking about the idea of revolution. And I saw a clip on the podcast, Grits and Eds podcast, that light-skinned dude who be saying crazy shit sometimes. He made this point that violent revolution is white supremacy. It's a white thing, basically, which makes no sense. Then you hear about how they talk about people like George Jackson and all these other revolutionaries from the early years, and how they treat them like they're just violent people. There's no need for violence. Not understanding the reason why the Panther movement, the Black Power movement worked was that there was always the threat of violence, not threat of violence, but there was always a thin line of we'll do it if we have to. Self-defense. Yes, we got guns. Yes, we train each other. It's because a lot of those men were in the military. They were in the military. They saw what was happening. They saw what happens, not just through sheer violence and just shooting people and killing them, but the propaganda that's pushed, the way they're able to infiltrate organizations and all this other stuff. And they took that home, and they understood the only way you can really be radicalized is to separate, which is why they pushed the idea of separating from the institution. Because at some point, because of the system that they have, they'll always find a way to use it against us. You talk about the welfare system and all this other stuff. At some point, if you rely on it, there's always a threat they can take it away, which means they can control you. And then I wondered, why don't people want the threat of violence in a revolution? Participation in a war is what created it. As I already said, we knew we had to separate because of that. Hold on, I want to see. And there's a particular group and sect that's really against it, particularly the educated, college-educated, scholarly, feminist, intersectional feminist type that's truly against it. And I wonder if it's because there's no way they can truly be the head of it if there's always that thinly veiled threat of violence. As a matter of fact, it's because of this right here. Executive Director of Black Lives Matter OKC charged with wire fraud and money laundering. So the people who are a part of systems like this, they can't lead a real revolution. It's impossible because that's not your strength. That's not something you can be a part of. And I saw that there was a thread I saw on Reddit. Let me see, about Elaine Brown. And I'll get to her in a second. But she had a quote where she basically was saying how they didn't like that she kind of defended the Panthers and didn't call them sexist like so many others, or some at least, and made the point like, no, we all had a job. That's the point. It was an organization that everybody had a chore. Everybody had a place. They were asking about, well, what about who did the cooking and cleaning? It's like, this is silly to even bring this up. Which goes back to not wanting to. I talked about this months ago. Not wanting to be led by black men. So you have to speak against the thing that they probably will have the best opportunity to lead with, which is obviously the revolutionary aspect. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, see, Black Lives Matter director hit with fraud. I want to just read this part. Despite the stated purpose of the money raised, and this is, they constantly get exposed for this, so there's no point in really reading this, but it's just how prominent it is in that organization, and people still defend it somehow. It's crazy. Despite the stated purpose of the money raised and the terms and conditions of the grants, the indictment alleged the beginning of June 2020 and continuing through at least October 2025, Dickerson embezzled funds from Black Lives Matter OKC's account for a personal benefit. The indictment alleged Dickerson's deposit at least $3.1 million in return bail checks. In return bail checks into her personal account rather than into Black Lives Matter OKC's account. Among the things, Dickerson then used other funds to pay for recreational travel to Jamaica and Dominican Republic for herself and her associates, tens of thousands of dollars in retail shopping, at least $50,000 in food and grocery deliveries for herself and her children, a personal vehicle registered in her name, and 6 real properties in Oklahoma City deeded in her own name or in the name Equity International LLC, an entity she exclusively controlled. Why did all them people who were scamming in Black Lives Matter, all of them bought properties? All of them bought property. They didn't just waste the money, as you would say, on frivolous things. They made sure they came out owning something. So that I can respect that part, I guess. The scamming led to something. There's something at least. And then when we continue to talk about this idea of the leadership and the failing of it, should I say, talk about coin and how they control who leads you. We know that these people in Black Lives Matter were trained by Marxists, Caucasian Marxists, Jewish, some of them. So then we talk about, I'm bringing back the Elaine Brown point. She's accused, I'm not saying it's true, of having a spook around her. And she was not an asset, but she had a handler, CIA handler. And as I said months ago, a lot of those people from the 60s, 70s, at some point will be exposed as people who were snitches, basically. Elaine Brown, I think there was another one too. I forgot the name I was going to use. Hold on. in fact, there's an article written on this in 2007. Was former Black Panther leader Elaine Brown a government agent? They also had people following people like, I got a name right here. Hold on. I got a name right here. Let me let it load. Baldwin. I don't know if that's true. I saw somebody say that Baldwin might have had a handler as well. And as much as I might disagree with some of the things he said and how he's revered now versus how he was talked about at the time, I don't think that's true about him. But I do think the CIA, through Coin, obviously COINTELPRO at that point, that was their project was called. They definitely was using a lot of those people to infiltrate the system, as the dudes in the organization knew, because they saw it overseas in war. They see it going on now with the Palestinians in the damn in Israel, who were the real target in that situation, the Palestinian men. They see it going on with, they saw it happen with Iraq, obviously the Philippines. They saw it happen with Korea. They saw it happen with Vietnam. So war is necessary, and a separation from the system is necessary in order to get around it. If you don't, you'll get stuff like this. Let me show this. Outside of the Black Lives Matter thing, you'll get this too. These are the people that now are your leaders in this so-called revolution.
We are the transformation that this city is looking for, but make no mistake about it, there are those who are intimidated by this level of power, right? Because in some instances, those who held the power before are living in their own guilt and shame. And so they are intimidated by this site, but we have to demonstrate to the rest of the world what it means not just to come together for our people, but how our liberation benefits all.
So he's speaking like this, and I'm going to ask the question and we can move on. If stuff really popped off, would you trust Johnson be the person that's willing to ride? Would you really trust that he'll be a person that would do what's necessary to protect this community? Or is he a person that would tell you that violence isn't the answer? Coin has completely neutered and neutralized a lot of the black men in our community. That's my final point. Coin, the counterinsurgency program they place in America, has led to a complete void of leadership for the most part. Anybody they put in front of you damn near is untrustworthy. Anybody they tell you to follow is the worst person to get behind. And I don't know what happens in the next coming years, because something been brewing on the other side, as I said earlier, with the, what was going on with the whole white male victim thing. There's something going on over there you should be paying attention to. And if you don't, you're not going to be prepared. You're just not going to know what hit you. And so the fact that we have people like Johnson and the Crockets and all these other people, the same people that keep pushing this idea of we have to do it this way. We need to wear quarter zips, and we need to seem strong in how we speak, and the only way to prove our strength is to go to college. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with education. Obviously, that's a great thing. Education helps. It's a big part of it. You gotta have knowledge of certain things. But if they're the ones teaching you, you're never gonna get the knowledge you need. So we got to go to each other for that. But I don't know if they want to do that anymore. Speaking of that, damn, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. All right, you got it. It's right here. Keep saying no, Johnson is a phony. Yeah, he be getting cussed out at his whatchamacallit, so at least the people know it. The people of Chicago they know it, so that's good enough for me. All right, last part of this. Plot to kill blacks with HIV exposed. This was released December 14th, 2025. Shocking allegations have surfaced that apartheid-era operatives orchestrated a campaign to spread HIV/AIDS among black South Africans to reduce the population ahead of the country's first non-racial elections. I read this article, and it said what we already knew, that they were using the black South Africans who was associated with the European military, the coons, as you would call them, the traitors, I should say. They were using those men who were infected with HIV to lay down with the black South African women to spread the disease. That was one way. They made them lay down with prostitutes to help spread it another way. And they said they knew it was spread because of the ultra-sexual nature of black people and having multiple sexual partners. So they tried to spread it. And remember, I said years ago that it was proven, or should I say it's alleged, that Israel was trying to help South Africa create a bioweapon that in particular would go after the so-called black South Africans. So the HIV plot thing is not a surprise because the other stuff they was trying to do was even worse almost.
Can we I just do the question again and then you can pop in? Yeah. You mentioned actively spreading AIDS?
There was a unit in from SIMA that one of the things was that we went into African countries.
And how was that done exactly?
Through inoculation.
Through vaccines?
Yeah, through vaccines. Pretending to inoculate people and...
So yeah, outside of helping spread the disease through sexual nature of the traders, the black South African traders, they also gave them HIV through vaccines.
Type of thing.
The idea being to kill black people?
Yeah, to eradicate black people. You must understand the concept was that AIDS was a killer. It was incurable at that point in time, so it was led to believe that if you infected people, it was the quick, non-militaristic approach.
Non-militaristic coin, counterinsurgency used without actual violence. Now, how much? What percentage would you assume? Not necessarily just HIV, but most of the things that harm Black America happen because of situations like this, particularly in the pre-90s. We all know about the Tuskegee, whatchamacallit, but there's other situations that happen that weren't exposed, that they act like was just some study when the whole purpose was just to kill people off. We already know also about the attempt to sterilize black women, as they did in this situation here as well.
To eliminate black people.
And that is something you know for a fact, that AIDS was actively being spread to other countries?
Yes.
It's a war all around you. It's a war all around you. I think that's it, man. We went long enough. What time is it? 4:50. How long have I been live? Hold on, y'all. Oh, 2:35. All right. I think that's it for today. I appreciate the support. It's a war going on around you spiritually and physically. Be sure to, as Regina said, keep your head on a swivel. Protect yourself. Peace and blessings to all of y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate the support. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation, the topics we had. I will not be live next week, as I said, but start next year, I will be live every weekend again. Hold on. Yeah. Anyway, enjoy your holidays. If you celebrate Christmas, enjoy your families, your loved ones. Peace and blessings to everyone in safety. And as always, all praise to the Most High. And peace, man.